Oral's commerce trucks here. The Coral next is completely burned. That's the kind of mess. There are also Urals there.
An explosion on August 26th started a fire at the Ryazan-Moscow oil pipeline, a key petroleum product supply route for the Russian capital. A source in Ukraine's military intelligence told the Kyiv Independent. Local media reported a powerful fire near the village of Bozhatkovo on the evening of August 26, with emergency services and repair crews reportedly deployed to contain the blaze and repair damage. Russian telegram channels claimed that a loud blast could be heard at a section of the main pipeline. As a result of the powerful explosion, the transportation of petroleum products to Moscow via the pipeline has been suspended indefinitely, the HUR source claimed. The cause of the explosion was not specified. Since 2018, the pipeline has been repurposed by Transneft, a state-run pipeline operator, to supply automobile gasoline to Moscow. The source noted that the company also supplies fuel to the Russian military. Transneft and the regional officials have not publicly commented on the fire or its possible causes. According to the HUR source, Transneft is currently assessing the damage. Ryazan lies roughly 180 kilometers, 120 miles, from Moscow, and some 500 kilometers, 300 miles, from the Russia-Ukraine border. Ukrainian forces have repeatedly targeted Russian energy infrastructure through sabotage operations and drone strikes throughout the full-scale war, aiming to undermine Moscow's gas and oil revenues. Satellite imagery published by Cyber Boroshno confirms that the August 17th strike on the 108th Anti-Aircraft Missile Regiment and Baltimore Air Base in Voronezh hit key radar systems, a 76N6 and a 30N6, both part of the S-300 PM2 system. Burn marks and the absence of equipment at known positions suggest successful destruction, possibly including 2 Su-24 aircraft. Despite Russian efforts to conceal their positions, the Ukrainian 45th Artillery Brigade successfully identified and destroyed 6 Russian artillery pieces. Ukrainian drones have become one of the most decisive tools in countering Russia's overwhelming artillery advantage. By constantly patrolling the front, drones provide real-time intelligence, quickly locating hidden gun positions and supply vehicles that would otherwise remain undetected. This surveillance allows Ukrainian forces to direct precision strikes within minutes, often destroying howitzers, multiple rocket launchers, and their ammunition before they can inflict damage on Ukrainian positions. Beyond neutralizing immediate threats, the systematic destruction of Russian artillery undermines Moscow's doctrine of relying on massed fire to break through defenses. Each destroyed gun not only weakens Russia's offensive capacity, but also forces it to disperse resources and expose more equipment to detection. In a war where artillery remains the backbone of combat operations, Ukraine's ability to hunt it down with drones is shifting the balance, saving lives on the front and steadily eroding Russia's ability to sustain prolonged attacks. Finally, we agree with the Russian priest. Victory in the special military operation is impossible because Russian soldiers are thieves. Yes, they are.
Why can't we win? Because there's a thief there, a thief there, a thief there. Because of one thief, the army gets upset. He says, I won't help you. You have thieves and villains. If you read the Bible and compare it with reality, it turns out, yes, that one thief was found, for example, right? He, so to speak, gave 70% of the diesel fuel to refuel the military equipment and sold 30% of the diesel fuel, pocketing the money. That's it. There will be no victory. You are thieves. Well, it's not us. It's one person. Well, find him and execute him. Well, they found him, executed him. All right, fine. Things went on. Things got better. Then again, something doesn't work out. Again, there's some thief somewhere. Not just one, not two, not three. So you need to find the thief and execute him, and then things will move forward. That's how it's all described. These are like the laws of war. God is not a helper to bandits. That is, he does not rape civilians, does not torture prisoners, does not steal from soldiers. So all this is described in the Bible. Here's the lot. Let's check who the thief is. No need to check the lot. You need to give the command to the investigative bodies. They will dig through all the invoices and sort it out and restore order. And then you can win again. Because there is no victory due to thieves, the Holy Scripture tells us. If you want to argue, argue with the Holy Scripture.
One of the founders of the so-called DPR, Andrei Pergin, said that in Donetsk, poor quality water has already damaged equipment in boiler rooms. This means that the heating in winter will probably not work as well. So much for rescuing the people of Donbass.
У нас большое количество, не так давно, там 2-3 года назад поставленных новых котлов, они, многие из них пришли в негодность, потому что на момент заполнения теплоносителем, то есть водой, вода не была подготовлена, и фактически самое пострадавшее, это не только трубы, которые бесконечно приходится менять, это большие деньги, но и котловое оборудование, которое, в общем-то, не терпит очень жесткой воды. Фактически бурили скважину и считали, что из этой скважины вода чистая, ее можно использовать в технических для заполнения водой в котельных, и, к сожалению, это привело к тому, что во многих котельных котлы вышли из строя, и они меняются вот сейчас, в прошлом году, сейчас меняются повторно, то есть новые котлы, которые очень быстро выходят из строя.
The Danish public broadcaster DR is reporting that men with close links to Donald Trump have been infiltrating Greenland in support of his goal of annexing the autonomous island. It is said to be part of a three-part strategy involving pressure, charm, and infiltration. Ukraine watchers will note the similarities with the covert Russian campaign for annexation in the Donbass region, which had minority public support prior to the 2014 armed takeover of the region by Russia-backed paramilitaries. Denmark's foreign minister has summoned the top U.S. diplomat in Copenhagen, following a report that American citizens have been conducting covert operations in Greenland. Danish intelligence warned Greenland was being targeted by various kinds of influence campaigns. Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen said, "Any attempt to interfere in the internal affairs of the Kingdom of Denmark will of course be unacceptable," and the U.S. charge d'affaires had been summoned in that light. Back to the battlefields. The 68th Jaeger Brigade destroyed a Russian tank that was on its way to Ukrainian positions. Since the start of the full-scale invasion, Ukraine has destroyed well over 8,000 Russian tanks, according to official battlefield tallies, crippling Moscow's armored spearheads and forcing it to rely on outdated reserves. Local footage confirms heavy damage to storage tanks and infrastructure at the Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery, with parts of the site completely burned out. Recently, Ukrainian drones struck the oil refinery, which halted its operation. Ukraine's latest drone strike ignited new fires at the Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery in Russia's Rostov region, further disrupting fuel supplies and exposing the vulnerability of key energy infrastructure.
Here it is all in fuel oil, all of it. Not in fuel oil, but in oil. I didn't process it. It burned to the ground. This camas from the fire station also burned to the ground. Oral's Comas trucks here. The Coral next is completely burned. That's the kind of mess. There are also Urals there.
The moment a Ukrainian Ram 2X drone struck Russian troops in Donetsk region. Russian channels complained that over the past week these drones have been hitting their columns repeatedly. Hungarian Foreign Minister Péter Szijjártó once again threatened Ukraine with a possible cutoff of electricity supplies, citing recent Ukrainian strikes on the Druzhba oil pipeline. He claimed Hungary provides 30 to 40% of Ukraine's electricity imports and warned Budapest could create difficulties if Kyiv continues targeting the pipeline. At the same time, he insisted Hungary wants nothing bad for Ukrainian families. Maybe try not to sit in a Putin's lap, fool.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.